Three, two, one, and we're live. This is Ted Hicks with Late Night Parents. Ways to follow the show is latenightparents.com. We're going to try and do this weekly with True Armor. True Armor's in the building. How are you doing?
What up, what up? Thanks for having me.
For a minute, I was just like, whoa, wait a minute. Did I lose him? Did I lose him on the audio? But no, not at all.
Yeah, I forgot to set my chair height. I'm all right.
That's good. That's good. So, as usual, I want to thank you for joining us as we do this nightly. Well, it's not yet a nightly podcast, but I would like for it to be eventually a nightly half an hour show. Maybe
Right.
Goal is 4 nights a week in a 7-day period, 30-minute shows. That's only 2 hours. That's only 2 hours, which I think is totally doable. Totally doable. So, where did we get started? True, we had a great discussion last week where you talked about a lot of things. I disagreed with you. But you stayed the course.
Every week I'm just going to start by apologizing for the things I said last week.
Nah, you don't have to apologize. Got a bunch of topics. I'm going to go into the first one, WarnerMedia. And I will say this much. Every time there's a merger, there's a demerger. So every time there's an acquisition and merger, within side of a year after that merger happens, it's a demerger, meaning you start to look at the redundancy between multiple operations and you say, hey, right, you know what, I'm going to shut this down.
Nobody needs two press secretaries, not press secretaries, two publicity vice presidents and two, right, exactly.
Right.
You begin to kill off the redundancies in your right. I got you.
So whether it's back office, whether it's accounting and payroll, HR, no one needs a duel of anything. But what WarnerMedia has done, it dropped about an hour and a half ago.
Oh, this dropped a giant. Have you heard that? That fire must have been an M80.
Oh, where? By you?
Like a shotgun.
By you or by me?
Yeah. No, by me. It just happened.
Oh, okay. So actually what happened was the CNN Center in Atlanta, the infamous CNN Center in Atlanta, is going to be going for sale. And yeah. So what they're doing is, which is also smart, they're consolidating.
Right, okay.
So that news was just dropped. So I'm sure the left-leaners and the right-leaners are going to have some type of comment because everyone has a comment about CNN.
Right. But is this a product of the work-at-home environment?
I think this is a product.
You don't really need a giant building?
I doubt it. I think it's more on the lines where they have redundant buildings. Because you had a Time Warner. Right. And you had, what's the name? And, previously before the acquisition, when you have multiple properties, you're going to look at it and you're going to say, okay, we're leasing this building versus we're owning this building.
Who did they merge with? Who did they merge with?
This is you missed a whole bunch. Hey, your audio is coming in choppy, and I'm not sure if it's your buds. Wait, so
I'm gonna have to.
So I'm not sure if it's more on the lines of.
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
All right.
I hear you loud and clear. So I'm not sure if it's more on the lines of there were multiple buildings and there's just, like I said, there's just redundancy. So So you sound so much clearer. You
Those,
sound
those are not, well, I'm not going to discourage the buds, but yeah, I normally use them for running. I haven't been running in a while. I could have got better ones if I wanted to use them for actual better communication.
okay.
But they're for running.
So next topic, I just wanted to mention that with CNN. I will say this much: in LA, you can still eat inside a restaurant. You can sweat on people at the gym, but you can't go hiking outside.
Which
I'm not
doesn't
sure,
make any sense. Which
for the
doesn't make
4th
any
of
sense.
July, all beaches will be closed due to the alarming spike of the coronavirus.
Yeah, does that make any sense that you can be in a closed building like a gym or a restaurant, but you can't be in the great outdoors like on a hiking trip? I mean, like you can't be at the beach. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense.
I'm
would
not
close
sure.
restaurants and bars before I close beaches. And I would have closed restaurants, bars, and beaches by now. It's just weird how I wish I understood the logic. And I wish that these people in power would explain to me their logic rather than just dictating what I think just doesn't make any sense. You can be in a restaurant and you can be, but you can't be on a hiking trail.
I don't know. It kind of defies logic because you would think you could be outside, but you can't be inside.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. In the simplest way. Exactly.
So I'm not really sure. As I've talked about on the last couple of podcasts, the fact that masks are politicized, versus whether you wear one, where you probably should wear one, versus the people, the Karens, all the above that have opted not to wear one. We constantly see the Twitter timelines are just, filled with people just losing their minds altogether. But hopefully, I'm hoping before this weekend, before the holiday weekend, the federal government comes out and says, and I know this is a big reach, that masks for all, masks for everyone, mandated down the line.
No, it's not going to happen.
No?
Because every time, look, Fauci, the head of the disease, was saying everyone should wear a mask, but Trump was like, I'm not trying to wear a mask. So you're not going to tell him who is your boss that, he must wear one, right? No matter what state he goes to, I don't care what the governor says, the governor's not going to write him a ticket or deny him entry. He's the president, right? So all this grand talk of, I don't know, man. And look, Trump isn't always wrong. First of all, everyone should wear a mask.
Everyone should.
I don't know if you can mandate it though, right? And guilt works, okay. Threats work, yeah, I guess. But at the end of the day, you can't threaten the president as a governor or a mayor. I'm just freaked out, so I always wear a mask. But I'm sure some people are just, for whatever reason, they're ridiculous.
So the reason why you wear a mask is because you're freaked out because of what Tony Fauci says, or you're freaked out about the rate of transmission, or overall with people dying?
I'm freaked out in the sense that this seems like something that you don't want to get, and it's such a not just a fastball across the plate, but it's just all the stories you hear about it sound miserable. We both know people who've had it, and
we know a ton of people that have had it.
Yeah.
We know people who've passed because of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it just sounds like a horror show, right? It separates families. You should take it seriously so it could quickly pass. And remember, we had this conversation on your show before, and I was like, when the Black Death was around some 600 and 70 years ago now, something like that, it hung around Europe for 3 years. It wasn't gone in a wave of or a cycle of, a few days like they're telling us. And we're a pretty big population, man. I mean, there's 300 plus million of us. And to put that in perspective, there's only, I think, 70 million British people. I think there's like 40 million Australians, right? There's got to be like, I mean, we're a big population, not, so because we have a lot of land to run, and so I don't know. I think this could be really, what's the word I'm looking for? Really, really bad if people just keep being ridiculous about it. But we could all get through it if everyone just agreed that it was serious and they didn't want to get it. If they not my neighbors, right? If they just said this is bad, I don't want to get it, so I am going to wear a mask, right? Be selfish in that regard. That behavior, that selfish action protects somebody because you're not versus a guy who's asymptomatic like D.L. Hughley, who's doing stand-up shows in like nightclubs full of people, right? It just
If I was present and at that show, I would immediately go out that next day to the nearest location to go be tested.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have sat in line.
That's the first thing I would do. The second thing
Totally.
I would do is talk to a lawyer.
Really?
He exposed a lot of people.
Yeah, but
he passed out on stage.
You opted to pay your money
to
go see this show.
I did not opt to expose myself to someone, right? If you're supposed to be symptomatic or you have some fears or some doubts, you're supposed to take precautions as not to infect anybody. If your venue is still open, isn't it up to you to make sure that D.L. Hughley isn't infected, right? I mean, so America is the land of litigation, right? I'm not even a lawyer, and I've heard enough law cases to know that this is bad, right? I mean, people ask for comedy, didn't actually be exposed to anything. And before you signed up to be exposed if you left the house. I think that's going to be a hard stretch, right?
I'll go back to your mandatory comment. I don't know why people in leadership have a problem with using that word mandatory, especially in a serious situation like this.
Well, this is America, right? And your inalienable rights are supposed to be just that, right? You're not supposed to be able to take them away from anybody, and they're taken away all the time. Your right to vote is always mucked around with. So yeah, you're supposed to have a right to a bail you can afford, and people from the ghettos who do granted the things they do are atrocious, they should be able to get a bail that they can afford, and they never do. $2 million bails for somebody, you know what I mean?
If you're doing a white collar crime, you're going to get a low amount for a bail.
But the thing is, if you're doing a white collar crime and they catch you, your bail should be what you can afford. So if Jeff Bezos, got into a bar fight and crashed somebody over the head, and he got simple assault, right? But maybe not simple assault, but like assault in the third degree, where you could do some jail time, and the judge was like, "Well, you got a jet and everything, you could get out of here." He should still get bail, but since he's worth $100 billion, what should his bail be, right? Because he can afford it. Or if you didn't want to let him out of jail, you got to give him a bail that he can't afford. They do it to like I said, urban kids all the time. Your bail is $3 million. You're supposed to be able to come up with 10% of that. And, you've only ever been, a project dwelling person. Even if the cops got it wrong and they're letting people out of jail all the time, 30 years for getting it wrong, even if they got it wrong, those people at the time should have got a bail they could afford. So my point is that all these rights, these inalienable rights, are always snatched away from you, right? You're supposed to have a right to say and worship as you please, but that's not really the case. Some people want to sacrifice animals. We don't allow that, right? That Santeria stuff where they cut the head off chicken for whoever. We don't allow it. People try to, to sue. The Muslims want to ring bells, not bells, do Muslim prayer calls that they all get up and that. Excuse me, anybody Muslim listening, but there's a chant that they do at the crack of dawn, and they sued, and it was like no, and they were like, well, you have bells, and people kind of were like, well, bells have been the fabric of this society since the founding of the society, right before it was America. You're not going to undo bells, but at the same time, some things get grandfathered in, but we're not going to let you do X, Y, and Z, which causes, and it was for religious reasons, and they had a problem with it, but people also said we don't let the Mormons have 9 wives, right? I mean, that we put limits on what you can do. So, your inedible rights always run up against the government going, yeah, no. And now we're all protesting, and people think that they have a right to protest and gather. And you're seeing that the cops are telling you that that's up for debate, depending on who is giving the orders as to how they should engage the populace, and the populace's right to redress their grievance against their government.
So let's bring it back to mask. And so we saw Mike Pence make some comments, the vice president. We're hearing in Jacksonville, Florida, they're mandating mask.
Right.
The GOP convention is going to be, what was originally slated for North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, is now being pushed to Jacksonville, Florida. But, I was reading the survey, and I think it said something like 58 or 68% of the people that were polled. I don't remember the name of the poll, but 50 to 65 to 68% said they were concerned about the GOP convention, which is going to be indoors.
Right.
Which is going to house, 17 or 19,000 people. That could be another super spreader incident.
Yeah.
But we're starting to see various members of the GOP. I mean, the Democrats have already said that they're going to wear masks, and they've been walking around with masks on.
Yeah, they've been wearing the kente cloth mask. I know.
Right. But now you're seeing certain GOP members with masks verbalizing that, hey, it's time to wear a mask.
Why would you be surprised at this?
Well, they're a little late to the party.
And was talking while hold on, wait a minute. 3 months ago, all these Republican characters skipped out on Washington while saying that the virus wasn't a threat. They all agreed not to show up in Washington for votes and all this other stuff. And they all went off to their giant houses away from crowds in public. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they took their ball.
Later, they're all on board with a mask.
They took their ball and went home when it was time to vote on the stimulus, the first stimulus.
No, first they tried to pass a law where they could vote from home. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And there's apparently a clause where you have to vote in person in the United States Congress. And they tried to subvert that because they didn't want to be within 10 feet of each other when this whole thing broke. So now, what is it? 3, 6, 9, 12. 120 days later, 3 or 4 months later, everybody's all of a sudden talking about we should all wear masks.
Well, yeah, because when you have 125,000 Americans that are no longer here.
I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing that their judgment is always sketchy AF. Is all I'm saying. Is all I'm saying. I mean, we just talked. I'm taking it seriously. I think that they're saying.
Oh, we all do.
Encouraging
we all
you to do something else.
I mean, but it's different. It's different because I'm here in left-leaning New York. You know, the liberal capital
of the ever-loving F out of New York. The liberal capital of the world, where we all wear masks and we all run around here and we listen to the governor and all the above. So it's just good that it seems like they're a little late, a little slow, but they're finally catching on. They shouldn't always be America shouldn't always be late and slow.
Well,
I'm not giving them any more credit for that. Even as they're late and slow, they collect a check, a giant check.
Oh, they do.
And they sit
They
there
do.
for 40 years. They're ridiculous. All these sinister characters remain in action. The lesser of two evils, my ass. That's what got Hillary Clinton to be president, right? Lesser of two evils. Enough people did not buy that argument.
You said got her to be president?
Got her to be president. Her lesser of two evils argument. That's why she's president right now. Because enough people were like, whatever, lady. You know, that whole Cameron thing was a thing that, now that I think about it, that whole being a Cameron thing was a thing in 2016. We just didn't know what the name of it was.
Right.
And all these angry, crying women at the Democratic, not nominating committee, Hillary Clinton's on election night while they were all at the Javits Center crying. At the Javits Center.
We remember. Come on. Cut the ladies some slack. Cut them some slack.
Any slack, because people were telling you leading up to that this was a bad bet. And you were like, I like to speak to the manager about my presidential candidate. And now look at us. That's where we are. You know, and there's enough of them. There's not just Karens who are white women. I want to say there's got to be a name for black women who do this stuff too, right? There's got a name for Spanish women who do this stuff too, right? It just can't. I don't mean, there's got to be a popular name like that for them. But
let's leave the Karens alone. Let's focus on that.
It's just affluent, not affluent, but not always affluent. It's just
can we focus on the mass?
I deserve it. The society tells you,
come on,
you get everything you want, and sometimes you know your allies tell you this is not bad for us, and you don't care what your allies have to say, and you lead us to destruction. Because this society takes your word over other people's word. It adds more weight to your concerns than other people's concerns. So if people are going, well, Hillary Clinton is a bad candidate, you can't cry now 4 years later that, you know, your bet did not pay off. You can't blame other people. You bet poorly and people told you it was not a good bet. And now here we are with Joe Biden. People telling you the same thing. Luckily,
all right, we're talking about masks because each and every podcast you're on, you somehow slip into Joe Bidenville. We're not going there tonight with Joe Biden. Yes, you do. You mentioned Joe Biden, and I'm like, we don't have him on the slate.
I know. I'm not going in on Joe Biden. I'm saying the idea that people told you one thing then, like people are telling you the same, not the same thing, but the same kind of concerns about a different thing now is the same. It's part 2 of this movie. It's the sequel. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going in on Joe Biden and his history because you know I could do that. But I'm saying people should not be surprised.
Do it every show.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started on Joe Biden.
So I can go back the last 10 podcasts.
Yes, you're right.
That we've done,
I'm not denying it.
You've mentioned Joseph R. Biden Jr.
He no bueno, right?
Each time,
I know,
and the rants become progressively longer each time about Joseph Biden Jr. I'm like,
No, I think it'd be unfair. And if the rants, it's not like the rants aren't true, but man, whew.
Well, I did not say that the rants aren't true. I will give credit where credit is due.
All right.
But I will say somehow each time we get
I'm a loyalist, right? I'm a true believer in like talking
equal
it out,
opportunity,
coming up to what the next best step is, but in finding the next best step.
Offender.
In finding the next best step, you also have to know what your problems are. And once you know what the problems are, you have to name those problems. And what America never does is say so-and-so is actually the problem and then gets rid of so-and-so. The people who are the problem hang around for 30 years in politics making.
What are you talking about? That's not true.
That's what I'm saying.
Because people are being canceled right now, every day, every moment online.
That's a new thing. It's only been a thing for about 4 or 5 years now. When
people are being canceled.
3 years ago, maybe 4 years now.
I'm not talking about Me Too. I'm talking about people getting
that's
canceled.
When we started canceling people. Seriously, right?
Yeah.
So that was only
Well,
like 3 years ago.
every once in a while, someone would get canceled, but it wouldn't be at the frequency as
True. I don't
as
even know.
within the
Well,
last
hold on.
5 years.
When was the last time someone got canceled other than the last 4 years? I mean, people would get away with being drug addicts and drinking drivers and beating their women. The only people who they were canceling were sports players, black sports players, right? You name me the last time some Hollywood person got canceled. You see what I'm saying? Other than this Me Too stuff, before that, I can't. They didn't cancel. Who's the director? They didn't cancel him. So
From Suicide Squad. I mean, from Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, but that was all Me Too. And once Me Too kicked off, everybody's tweets, it became a racist.
No, I think
right?
Yeah, he had
a homosexual thing. So his tweets, not David Gunn, Gunn, but
James
Gunn.
But
that was all in the last 3.5, 4 years when like the Me Too thing kicked off. I'm saying before the Me Too thing kicked off, you had people who in Hollywood who'd run afoul, and they were. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is famously still around, right?
I'm
talking about the director who got involved with that.
I guess it wasn't favorable for these young actors and actresses to say something. It was like a different type of culture.
Right.
So,
but my point is, if they did, they could come back from it. That is my point. Nobody was seriously canceled in Hollywood before this Me Too thing happened, and the only people who were being canceled before then,
I'm sure someone. Ray Rice. Yeah.
Football. Well, sports people, right? And not all
that Ray
people.
Rice stuff.
was you could
just
see in baseball.
That was hard to watch. Yeah, the Ray Rice stuff was hard to watch.
I know, but I'm saying that's my point. But we're not talking about how hard it is to watch. We're also talking about they were canceling.
It was wrong.
They were canceling people. They didn't cancel people in baseball. Who's the guy who lived with his mama forever and then went and got scouted and went into, I want to say, the Cincinnati Reds, and he got all tatted up and became like had a substance abuse problem and
Josh Howard.
Josh Howard. Is it that? Yeah.
Well, it wasn't Cincinnati Reds. It was Texas Rangers. He was a Texas Ranger, and then he
was
got traded to the A's. No, to the Angels.
Right. Who was it?
Howard.
No, but you said the Angels?
No, Josh Hamilton. Josh Hamilton was a baseball player, had substance abuse problems.
But my point
given multiple chances.
Right. They didn't
given multiple chances. No, he canceled himself. It got to a point where it's like
nowadays,
it's dangerous.
Yeah,
he's going to kill himself.
Yeah, but my point is nowadays they would cancel him, and he didn't get canceled then. No one got canceled then. Is my point.
But I think we're conflating. No. We're conflating the issues. We're conflating the issues because his issue wasn't like he was a womanizer or anything. He had a substance abuse problem.
But he's been given multiple chances not to have a substance abuse problem. Right.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, because he had a skill. You got to understand with sports, if you have a skill, if you can run fast, you can jump, you can swing, you can swing a bat, they're going to give you multiple chances. Think of Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry. How many chances were they given?
Right. Look, I think you missed my point. My point is up until about 3.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, nobody was getting canceled. For other than like,
I'm going to do some research after the show.
It was good for scandal rags and saying so and so was doing XYZ, and it was good to have them essentially around.
I'm going to check the archives of the Inquirer to see about people getting canceled. This now. I mean, it's run amok.
People would generally be drug addicts and you would just watch them slide down the rungs, and they would essentially hit rock bottom. No one gets canceled.
I think of, and I've mentioned I mentioned him to you before, Harold Ford Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Harold Ford Jr.
He didn't get canceled either. People just got sick of him.
No.
Who canceled?
Harold Ford Jr. Something came up. There was an allegation made This guy was a partner at
Right, but that was me too.
Citibank or Solomon Smith Barney or
right. He was a commentator on MSNBC. Right.
Yes,
he was a former congressman from Kentucky. I want to say
a professor adjunct professor at NYU and then all of a sudden, so all of that the 3 or 4 different revenue streams, boom, everything got shut down.
Yeah.
And unless I've got it wrong, everything came out, it was unfounded.
Yeah. But once you're fired, they don't have to give you your job back.
So now he's but
he's still a former congressman with a good name.
Right. But when these allegations came out, boom, 1, 2, 3, everything, you lose everything.
Yeah.
You go home, you're married, you have a young child, you got some explaining to do, Lucy.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And now I see him.
Unfounded. How do you explain?
It was unfounded. It was unfounded.
It reminds me of the Johnny Depp thing where everybody was like, oh man, he beat that woman Amber Heard, and it turns out that whole thing was a sketchy tale of
was it? I didn't really follow it.
Yeah, it looks to. Well, I'm not one of these TMZ people. I'm more of a politics person, but so don't hold me to this. But go look it up for yourself. But it looks like he also had tapes of her trying to goad him into hitting her and calling him all this stuff and sort of being more of a problem than necessary, and being off her meds and being ridiculous. And
he was on meds or she was on meds?
She cut his guitar hand and he had to get.
But wait, hold on. Was he on meds or was she on meds?
No, she was on medication. She was a difficult starlet apparently. And she I think she threw something at him or hit him with something and cut his guitar hand. So I mean, but by the time the cops show up, if the woman is crying and you're not bleeding, you're going to jail. That's the way that works.
Jeez.
Because it's a safety. Because they would just kind of go, y'all need to calm down. We don't want to come back here, and then have to come back here to answer for not taking the guy away after he murdered off the family.
Before we go to the next topic, I just want to do a PSA. Everyone, take the time out. Take 5 seconds before you're about to leave the house in the morning or in the afternoon or evening if you work the night shift. Grab yourself a mask. It doesn't need to be an N95 mask, some type of face covering. Put it on.
Yeah.
Put it on. Let's stop the spreading. Because this is...
over your mug.
Do something.
You go with someplace.
Do something. Take the time. I leave them in the car. I leave additional masks in the car just in case.
Smart.
I leave a pair of gloves, 2 pair of gloves in the car just in case. We wouldn't ask anyone to go to that extent, but take the time out.
Look, I'm a gamer, right? So in all these games, they taught me that one, you should try and be prepared, right? So at the very base level of this is I'm gonna be prepared by having a mask and wearing gloves.
Mm-hmm. And have hand sanitizer available.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't even want to touch their hand sanitizer spray bottle and keep putting all that stuff on my hand. I'd rather wash my hands at my house. I wear gloves. When I come home, I wash my hands once, then I touch my own stuff. That's my thing. But yeah, I don't know, just all the hand sanitizers and all the wipes, just kind of and then you gotta wash them anyway. Just
but you can't. You still
oils in your hands.
But you still can't find wipes. You still can't find Clorox wipes.
No.
It's and you blink your eyes, it's going to be July, and it's been 3 months.
Might be a good thing. All these people using all these wipes and all this stuff is not good, right? We're supposed to be combating germs, and penicillin doesn't work. So maybe we should kind of maybe this is a product of that, right? Maybe we have somehow lost our immunity to the natural world here to be transcendental on people. So, I don't know.
I put up the name Van Jones because this guy's being dragged on Twitter. Tell me what difference tell me what he did that was different than when there's a bipartisan law or order put together that he did versus our our favorite politicians from both sides on both sides of the aisle.
Well, I think his problem was he got caught being duplicitous, quite frankly. It was found out that he was helping Jared Kushner formulate their cop policy from the Trump administration.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came out, it was weak sauce, and everybody was like, "What the hell is this?" And then he came out on CNN, a channel that he's a, what do they call him? A commentator? They don't call him that. He's not a commentator. He's a
contributor. He has a
contributor. That he's a
he used to have a Saturday
for,
show. He used to have a Saturday show, and
right.
then it used to be like monthly, or it was like bi-weekly.
Right. Well, he's still on. He's somehow getting a check from those guys, and they call him up when they need expert opinion on
race relations, I guess.
So
social justice issues.
Right. Well, right. So he's social justice. So he's up there. He doesn't talk social. He just talks politics. Anyway, so he's up there essentially saying that it's a good start, it's better than nothing, and we should give it a shot, essentially, paraphrasing, on CNN without telling anybody that he helped craft it and had a hand in doing it, and now he's trying to sell it to you. So once this came out, people were not happily and rightfully so, and they called him all sorts of turncoats and traitors,
but he's done work before. He's done work before with Jared Kushner. There's been town halls where he's worked with Jared Kushner, and I think
this is different.
That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing to be able to work with someone that's I don't want to say that that's the opposite of you, but someone that's not in your airspace. I think that's a good thing. To be able to work.
That's not the problem with how people saw it. The problem how people see it is you didn't disclose any of this, and once again, it's people claim to be honest brokers and coming across as, like I said, duplicitous and more standard functionaries for political parties. And now he looks like a functionary, right?
I think he missed. When you're going around the bases, he missed one base, because if he would have gave a full disclosure,
landscape enough to know what the lay of the land is, right?
But if he gave a full disclosure, would this be a conversation?
Yes,
would this
still be a conversation
if he gave a full disclosure?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes, police fucking misconduct is on the
no.
The ballot is on the table. The whole place is discussing.
No.
Why would it not be? Hold on, wait. You just asked me. Hold on. The police misconduct is
that's not the question.
Table. No, but if he had said, I spoke with the administration and tried to come up with a jumping off point for how we can solve this problem, no one would have had a problem with that.
That's why I said full disclosure. That's why I said
with this.
He only missed one base. I think if he had did a full disclosure, they would have still said, okay, this executive order is
running around. Look, you missed one base running around, and you're still out.
Yes,
you're still out. That's it.
Yes.
Yes. And apparently, this is not the first time he missed one base.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I've seen him on TV interview Jared Kushner on his show.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
And that's fine. That's fine. It's not like he and Jared Kushner had a conversation at a private restaurant where no one knew it. Then that would be a problem. But I mean, you keep talking about sunlight, is the best disinfectant, and you never open the window. So what is going on here? And when we find out, we're always finding out somebody who's supposed to be a rising star, is sort of trying to do you dirty to curry favor, right? It's just, look, if he had worked for the Trump administration, that'd be better, right? You'd know
Yeah,
that
that'd
he
be
worked for
best.
them, that he was coming out, a young Democrat working in the Trump, trying to bring sides together. You may not have agreed with him, you may have disagreed with him even working there, but at least you knew what he was trying to do, and he could quit anytime and say, well, I tried, those people are crazy, or say the whole 8 years ago, it wasn't as bad as I thought, we made some good inroads, right? None of that is what happened. What happened was he got together with this guy behind closed doors, got together this ridiculous, series of what should and shouldn't be new police procedures, and then took it out and passed that off as what was going to be progress to a populace that is absolutely had it with the games that you play with them, right? And even as all this is going on, they killed oh my god, I forgot his name. It was coming home from the grocery store, right? Injected him with ketamine.
Elijah McClain.
Thank you, Elijah McClain. And the names come so fast and so furious that you forget. And trust me, I mean, this whole environment is just. I really think it's a powder keg, because people only march and ask you when they expect you to come across. Once they don't think you're going to come across, I think it gets worse, because then it's like, fuck you and what you stand for. I'm not trying to rule America. I'm just trying to make sure there's problems for you.
I respect you, and I respect those comments. I still think we would not, or Van Jones would not have been getting dragged if he had made a full disclosure, because he's promoting this executive order, going around on various CNN shows, promoting it as a great start, as this, as that,
right? And
then for it to come out that he was the one, it was like, he was like the brainchild of, that's he could. I mean, I think
politics as usual,
right? Very simple. He could have just been like, "Listen, I work with them.
Yeah, this
I sat down with them."
Wound.
Right. Very simple.
Yeah.
Could have been like, I did this 1, 2, 3, and this is a start. We're going to build from this. We're going to take this as the framework.
Right.
And I think, people will still, like I said, people still say, you know what, this is weak, but then you can hold your head high. And you can say, hey, I worked with, it's no different than when you hear the politicians. I worked with my colleague on the other side of the aisle for, it's the same thing. But he didn't do it the right way. Hey, agreed. I'm going to share, because the next topic is, hey Siri, I'm getting pulled over. But I wanna
now you got Siri.
Yeah, now I got Siri saying that. Okay. So yeah, we don't want that.
Exactly.
Hang on one second. I'm gonna go to hang on. Hey Siri. Boom. And you go to latenightparents.com and you'll find the latest and greatest in podcast, YouTube or YouTube stream, Facebook, and overall Twitter feed. So I think this is the video.
Can't hear any of it.
You can't hear it?
Nope. Might be coming through your speakers.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So you tell me you can't hear anything?
Nope.
Can you hear that?
Nope.
Okay.
You might have to take your headphones out and play it through your speakers. But that would cause feedback, so don't do that. I don't know. Too bad. Well, a lot of you can edit in later, but yeah, I get it.
Can you hear it now?
Very low, but yeah.
All right, I'll just throw it in there. Post-production. So ultimately, what I was going to show, which was a total fail, was there's a feature that came out in 2018, basically built into all phones, all for Apple users, called Shortcuts. Like I said, the app was launched in 2018, allows users to conduct tasks on their phones. This will normally require multiple actions, but it's handled with a single voice command of the iPhone's artificial intelligence capability, Siri.
This sounds great. I thought about this actually if I had any, but yeah, I had this idea like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
After I watched a Dateline episode of somebody who got trapped in their car and couldn't reach their phone. I was like, oh, too bad they couldn't yell at it and have it do something like a Star Trek communicator. And now here we are, being able to activate your phone with a word.
So the thing about it is, the best thing about it, you run through a couple of these steps. So when you say, "Hey Siri, I'm being pulled over," the phone itself starts to record from that point.
Right.
Audio, video, and most important, it connects to your iCloud and automatically uploads that audio and video.
So it can't be tampered with. Right.
So on most cases, by default, you start off with 5 gigs worth of space on your iCloud. I think it's, of course, unfortunately, in this day and age, this is a feature you need to have enabled.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's happening.
Yeah, and shit goes bad fast.
And with what we've seen over the past, several months, the amount of cell phone content, video content on the things that have been happening out there in the street with law enforcement, with protesters, with peaceful protesters versus the rioters versus, you name it. Scary thing.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that? So when you thought of creating an app like this years ago.
Yeah, all I needed was skill and some knowledge to do exactly that. But yeah, you let your mind wander. You watch all the sci-fi shows that that we all grew up with. Yeah, you wonder why, what happens. And like I said, when I thought about it years ago, because of a Dateline episode where some lady, if I remember this right, missed, like she went off like an overpass and like the Great Northwest, and then like she was just kind of like 60 feet like down this ravine, just trapped in her car, and no one had known she had gone over there, and she couldn't like reach her phone to call anybody, and like they since a worker stumbled on her. I want to say like 15 days later, she had been drinking rainwater and like she had some stuff in her purse, but she couldn't reach her phone. I was like, God, she was there for 15 days, listening to cars zoom by, and luckily some guy was like, some like worker had to go repair something, not even something that she knocked over. If she had taken out something, it'd be one thing. She she'd have caused a blackout. Someone would have found her in like 12 hours or so. But yeah, I was like, man, everybody's got a cell phone. Too bad she didn't, you know.
So the Android version.
So this is just a great idea of being able to
the
go up and being pulled over Siri, and then Siri just kicks in the automatic protect your self mode. That way you can hear everything from simple rudeness or simple kindness to great heroism or, you know, horrible sinisterness from these police officers. You know, Siri starts recording and all of a sudden your random, I'm just going to give you a warning for blowing this stop sign becomes, miss, stay in your car, something just happened. And then like you're recording some cop do some heroic thing. I mean, and there are those guys out there. But you know, right now you're going to have to deal with the trash. And this is a product of it. You shouldn't need this, quite frankly, but you do, you know, and quite frankly, you always did.
Google's Android version of this application, unfortunately, I hate to tell you the name because I know you didn't go to latenightparents.com to read my article. It's called Stop and Frisk Watch. That's an even worse name. Stop and Frisk Watch.
Stop and Frisk Watch. Like
That's
watch
Android.
Like neighborhood watch, or watch like I have a Stop and Frisk app on my watch.
Dude, the app is called Stop and Frisk Watch for the Google Marketplace.
Right.
I think that's the even worse name than you can come up with. I will say this much: we all have
pretty bad.
We all have family, friends, colleagues that are law enforcement that are feeling a certain way nowadays because I don't want to say they're getting a bad rap, but they are. They're getting a bad. We have mutual friends. They're getting a bad rap because you know you've got some folks out there that you know are not doing the right thing, and all of a sudden the fire becomes. You start looking at you know anyone in a uniform.
Right.
And ready to critique them.
Right.
But you got a lot of people that have been, you know, wearing that badge for 10, 15, 20 plus years.
Right.
Doing the right thing.
Right.
So
I think the majority of rational people agree with that. But like you always get the fringes, right? And the fringes say defund the police, and you know, nobody needs cops. Those people are idiots. And on the other end, you have people who
they're total idiots.
Keep saying the same nonsense that nothing is wrong, right? And then you have gradients of the two slowly moving in. So on one, it's like nothing's wrong. Then a tick in, it's like, well, we just retrain them. Like what you saying that whole thing, and you tip in from there. And the other end, where people are like, defund the cops, nobody needs cops. You tick in from there, and you get you know, I mean, from that anarchy position of no one needs cops, which is stupid. You tick in from there, and people want to police their own neighborhoods, which you can't do without a trained organization to help you do it. And once they train you to do it, you become the cops. You know what I'm saying? So it's just this weird little round robin mind fuckery that they like to play these games with. And those of us who've seen it come through, it's just kind of like, I know where this is going. So yeah, you need cops. You can't, you know, abolish the police. That's ridiculous. But you can defund the police and take some of that money and put it toward social goods, right? So you don't have a giant not cop problem, but giant crime problem.
So you and I think we agreed to disagree earlier today. We were talking, and we're talking a couple times today. Yes. And we
I think this is our fourth conversation today.
Right. And
just to put in perspective, people, one conversation we had off air earlier today was 2.5 hours long.
Right. Because some of these topics get a little heated. And certain things require not to be recorded.
I don't think they're heated. I shoot my mouth off, and look, I mean, we know each other,
Right.
so I feel
I
really
mean,
comfortable
well,
talking to you.
when I
No,
say
no,
heated, I don't mean
no, I know what you
heated
mean.
like,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I was about to address that. I'm like, so I
okay.
feel comfortable with you, so I use looser talk than I would with other people because you know me so well.
Yes.
So now that we're
Yes.
recording, I try and clean up my
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
my verbiage substantially, but my verbiage is still a bit kind of like loose and and free, right? It's still very. I like to try to say that it's. I don't look. Listen. Anyway, the point is that I feel comfortable with you, so I have to watch what I say when we actually record, because I feel I can be honest with you, but at the same time, I'm also
Oh
trying to
yeah.
remember
No, I'm
that
thinking you can. Oh, you can.
this
You
is
can
this is
always
a
be
pod,
honest. You can always be honest. I told
but it's
you. I
not a
said.
bar, right? It's not like getting drunk and just being loose and wild and losing your Saturday Night Live gig.
Right. 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 No, there's no one in who's dressed inappropriate.
Yeah,
You
no
know,
blackface.
there's none of that. But what I'm talking about, and I mentioned to you earlier, and you slightly agreed, but you disagreed, and it was cool because we were talking about, okay, there's this magical number in the air, and I think you and I were going back and forth, and I said the number is $1 billion. If the budget is $6 billion,
Yeah,
then they're going to take $1 billion. Now, whether or
right.
not you take that billion over X amount of years, so you do it over 4 years, or you take that full
Then
billion.
you're not. Well, hold on, wait a minute. If they're getting $6 billion a year and you're taking $1 billion over 4 years, then you're not taking $6 billion. You're
No,
taking
two hundred
what
fifty
is
thousand
that?
dollars. Two
Yeah,
hundred fifty thousand dollars.
yeah, exactly. So that's
Right.
bullshit. I'm sorry, excuse my language.
So,
That's yeah. Now you're gaming
well,
me. Now
you
you're
have to,
gaming me, and
but
I'm
I'm just saying.
angry.
But I'm saying you have to wonder how that number is, because when you hear a specific number, you say, okay, when they say a billion, is that, $1 billion of the six, or is that $1 billion over a few
No,
years?
it's supposed
Or
to come out of their budget. They're not supposed to fund you $250 billion. It's supposed to come
no,
out of the.
but I'm saying, yes, it's going to come out, but is it, because we're not involved in those conversations.
Yeah, that's part of the conversation we should probably be having, other than where this money going to come from, because
Right,
you're already shortchanged the actual argument. It was supposed to be $1 billion out of their yearly budget. Now it's
right.
250 million to make $1 billion over 4 years. Man,
Who
I would still be
knows?
marching and losing my shit
Who knows?
if if
So
if if you pulled that on me.
and so I took it a step further, where
Yeah,
I said, okay, whatever the dollar figure, and you have X amount of police officers that are retiring, you got some that are quitting, you got, so if you got 272 that are retiring, and you got 75 that are quitting, okay, so roughly in my head, I'm like, you got 350 cops. You do the math on, the salaries or the overtime and everything else like that to come up with that, whatever that number is. Do you take that number, that billion, and then don't replace that 350 number? Because we're talking about 35,000 plus police officers that are currently out there in New York City. It's the largest law enforcement police force in the country. So
right.
my question is, do you do it through attrition, or how are you going to get to that magic number? Do you say, okay, do we slow up the classes? I think number one,
All right.
the existing classes. Well, hold on one second. I think one with the existing classes, it can't mirror that factory. And I don't know. I've never been a police officer. I've never been to the academy or anything else like that. You can answer all of that. You are the expert.
I'm,
Um,
I'm an expert at
no, you
something.
are.
Ooh, all right.
You
All
are.
right.
So I just want to know that number. Is that number pull? So that I want to know that 1 billion number. And
All right.
would
Look.
you factor in the number through attrition
No.
to get to that number, or would
No.
you take that number and then
No.
also
No.
factor the attrition and add it to it?
No, part of this is to correct some institutional wrongs. So part of this is punitive. I would take it out of their budget immediately. I'm not trying to wait for fucking people to retire. Get serious about this topic, people. The unions don't get to get their way, right? At this point, they're becoming like a fraternal organization against the people that's supposed to be, you know, looking out here to protect. So New York City, and I love talking about New York because I know the place well. The New York City Police Department has a $6 billion yearly budget. I would cut $1 billion of that, and I would split it between welfare programs and uh, the criminal justice court systems and all these places that they let rot so they could freaking send people to the American gulag for 30 years. And I would fix it. As for the cops coming in, I would still keep hiring these guys, but I would. You don't need all these SWAT guys. Let those guys retire. Don't replace those guys. Hire more guys to walk through this neighborhood. Neighborhood policing is where it's at. I would have more PR functions, right? The idea that if a neighborhood throws a freaking block party and the cop shows up and breaks it up with force because it went on too long, you know, you're not a good like police organization if that's what you're doing. You just attack the neighborhood. So God forbid a cop dies, all of a sudden you want to know who the players are and where so and so is. No, you should want people to want to tell you that versus, you know, just sort of rolling on themselves. So all these nonsensical things have been allowed to be at play forever, right? In the most recent days, they go back to at least Bull Connor in the 50s. These clever ways of making sure they can violate your rights and stay in charge. So no, I mean, it's time to end it. Take $1 billion off the New York City budget, put it to what is it? Not the PBA. Police at the PAL, Police Athletic League. A little more of those. Have some for adults, not just the kids. I would like to fucking do something. Spend some money on my age group, right? I like a late night because I'm not a teenager. Maybe after 10 to maybe midnight basketball thing under the stars where I can have a beer. Nobody gets drunk. Of course, there's going to be cops there. Everybody's a grown up. If you want to be an idiot, the cops will cart you away. But generally, you can have a beer out under the stars with your neighbors. And then, you know, on a weekend, you know, Saturday night, Sunday night, whatever, make sure the place is clean after you leave. And then go back and go, wow, I love my neighborhood. I love Summers in wherever I live. My police department don't bust my hump. I feel good because they are doing their job. And my teenage daughter is hanging out with her friends at, I don't know where the kids hang out now. When I was a little kid, my sister would go to the roller skating rink and I was envious of that, right? And then when I got older, it was like the club. I don't know if that'll be a thing by the time, you know, my 9-year-old niece is like 25 or whatever. Maybe they'll be going to parties on Mars or whatever the fuck. But there's always going to be some new thing to explore. And so far throughout all of our history, there's always been bad police work to go along with that. So people always talk about Mars and the moon. The first thing I always think about is like, are the cops going to be assholes on the moon? Really? You know, are they going to be assholes on Mars? You got to fix these things before you can get people, you know, to kind of trust that your system is honestly working for them. And I think you're at a point now where people are honestly beginning to give up on this unfair system. So, you know, yeah, it's that, if that makes any sense to your listeners.
No, it does.
No,
I want to do. I just want to do a quick hard stop.
Oh yeah.
And say this is Late Night. This is Ted Hicks from Late Night Parents. Ways to follow the show is latenightparents.com. We're sitting here with True Armor. As you can see, he's starting to get a little fired up because he's talking about a few topics that I guess are near and dear to his heart and also on everyone's timeline. You can follow True at on Twitter. He's a great follow. TRU_ARMOR. And you can also check out his videos because there's a whole bunch of items that he talks about on YouTube, and your YouTube feed is
True Armor.
TRU underscore.
Yeah, TRU. Do we do underscore? Just space S Armor.
Okay.
If you look up True Armor, you'll find me. I'm True Armor on all platforms. True with no E.
Okay. So
sometimes there's an S and sometimes there isn't. Truest. Get it?
Truest. What does the S stand for?
I am your truest. Yes.
What does the S stand for?
That's actually is my name is Shawn, but all my nicknames have always started with an S. Like you guys call me Swap from the old days.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a housing cop, everybody called me Shining because my name was Armor, Shining Armor, like night and supposed to be. Yeah. So all these kind of motifs kind of fall into kind of like and we all have nicknames in the hood, right?
Okay.
Everybody got a nickname.
Hey, so
like 9 out of 10 people we know have nicknames in the group chat.
Yep. Hey, I want to talk about something else that I opened up the newspaper, the virtual newspaper today, and I saw the rifle wielding lawyers. I saw that there's Black Lives Matter protesters. I'm not sure where this was. If it was Kentucky or something like that.
No, it was in I want to say Minnesota, Minneapolis,
Okay.
It was with a.
Okay, so they're doing a peaceful protest. They're walking by, and then the only thing I kept seeing was there were two people standing outside there. It seemed like a mini mansion.
Yeah.
One had a rifle and one had a handgun, and I'm like, what in the world is going on here? This seems like all types of wrong, and that somebody could get killed.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people could have got killed. He had an AR. So was an AR or M1? I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, people are losing their mind, man. I mean,
so is it the COVID? Is it marches? Is it what we're seeing on TV? Is it the cable news?
COVID. That's a good question. Could you be so stressed out from COVID that?
Well, if you've been in lockdown,
your bigotry and cost you everything, and like including your freedom. But let's be clear. Before COVID, like God was shooting up kids in in every place, quite frankly. I was thinking of the young boy who was playing music too loud and the guy shot into his car at the gas station, and then drove off, went home, and had pizza. Yeah. So yeah, it's like there was no COVID when he was ridiculous. No. I think some people are just arrogantly ridiculous, and the longer you grow up thinking that you're special and ridiculous, when that becomes challenge, you react badly. And this is not the first time. Remember Hurricane, was it Katrina? The Danziger Bridge incident, right? Those were cops being, but while that was going on, there was other people who wouldn't let you drive through their community. They had armed guards in and out of this place. So when America always began to shuffle, there's always people like that who come out of the woodworks with ridiculous behavior, who are not about helping their neighbor or the American way or anything. They're about being afraid and scared and pulling a gun on you and claiming that you're the problem. So, I mean, people like to say we're all in together until we all need to be in it together. So it's funny.
It's a scary situation.
McCloskey.
So have you followed up on the story? Like, where are we at right now? I mean, I know like the press reached out to them, and
the gun people.
Yeah, are there like any charges going to be filed or?
Well, they're still looking at that, but apparently their lawyers, I forgot what type of lawyers. I want to say they're not divorce lawyers or anything like that, maybe, but they made cake, and the guy said he saw them break down the front gate, and he thought the neighborhood. He wanted to know what was going on, and then he felt that he threatened him and his wife. And,
wait, his front gate was broken down?
No, apparently it's a gated community. The mayor lives in a gated community. So no one showed it on TV, but this is what he said in his statement. that they broke the gate and got onto this I guess it's a gated community where the mayor lives and where he lived too. So, but he was saying how he supports Black Lives Matter and he didn't break any laws. And yeah, it's, you know, after you put the gun down and close your door and then you start trending 20 minutes later, click, 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 and you just see all these mentions of your name, that little thing just rising. And then the people you know are like, yeah, don't come into work tomorrow. And people on your firm are like, yeah, we want to withdraw our business from you. All of a sudden, you got to get out ahead of it. This is what Tina Fey did, right? We're going to pull all those blackface episodes. She was getting ahead of it. So we'll see what happens. Everybody needs to get ahead of the drama.
So are you comfortable with saying that couple is about to be canceled, or they're not going to be canceled, or?
Well, they're both lawyers, and lawyers know 1,000 tricks to keep justice at bay, right? Or to drop, you know, unfairness on your head because they know how the rules of the levels of justice work. So that's a good question. I mean, they're not cops, right?
Right. And obviously, obviously, both of those weapons were registered, and you know,
well, I doubt that they'd make a lazy mistake like having two guns that aren't registered.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
They're not rappers.
Wow. But no, what I'm saying is you know, I think they checked all the boxes.
Yeah, I think once the blowback began, they went into PR mode as well as damage control mode. Because, like I said, they're both lawyers.
Okay.
St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah, couples reported pulling weapons on outside their St. Louis, Missouri home. But he gave a statement. I was looking for his statement. His statement was pretty good. It was full of shit, but it was pretty good. It was. He was like, "Yeah, now we support Black Lives Matter. What are you talking about? That wasn't about Black Lives Matter. We thought we were being invaded." But it wasn't about Black Lives Matter. Another.
So wait, they thought it was a home invasion?
No, not home invasion. They're like they saw them break through the gate into the gated community, and when they were like, "What's going on here?"
That's a form of invasion.
Aggressive. No, he said they broke through the gate. Essentially, this is the story. They broke through the gate. Like him and his wife was sitting on the veranda having dinner. Like I want that country music playing. Then they hear the gate goes down. Right? They go, "Why, honey? What's going on?" So they go to the front door and go, "What are you young people doing out there at this damaged, broken gate?" And then the crowd was like aggressive and threatening, even as they like, "Oh, this is on video. This is what his story is," and he felt for him and his wife's safety that they were going to be attacked, so they had to go get these weapons and keep the people at bay. But none of the video says any of that shit. And meanwhile, he's like, "Oh, what? No, it wasn't about. No, we support Black Lives Matter. Me and my wife love Black Lives Matter." So this is why everybody needs cameras. And remember, when cameras was a new thing, the cops didn't want them. Cops did not want them. Why? Because this is where we are now. You really don't need them because everybody's got one, and there's some police departments that don't want you to have a camera on them or allow you to cut it off or all this other nonsense. Yeah, they just need to fix it.
So I want to go to Facebook's ad boycott continues. You know, I spoke about this the other day, and I said it started off with North Face, REI, which are niche type products, which spilled into Verizon, Microsoft, McDonald's. It's through the roof.
Well, I think people have been tired of freaking Facebook for a while now, right? So this may be a chance for everybody to just kind of like, you know, bring them down a peg. Because remember, I'm pretty sure all these people who are canceling their ad revenue bucks have kids with Facebook accounts because it's got like 2 billion people on it. Yeah, most in Western society easily. So I'm sure they're unhappy with their privacy issues, right? So now they might actually be able to engender some actual change through money, not because it's just something to do for good PR. We don't want like the people to think that, but because they actually have skin in the game. I'm a CEO of who boycotted him? Give me a name.
Microsoft.
Yeah, okay, I'm CEO of Microsoft, and I'm boycotting because not only do I have a Facebook account, my grandkids, my daughter doesn't like the privacy issues, so maybe I'll pull my ad dollars into their
But I think it's more than the privacy
in my life
issues.
are affected.
I think it's more than the privacy issue. It's the amount of hate speech that is on there.
I'm saying that so many people now, even those people could be connected in a way that they may actually want change too, versus just trying to hide behind PR terms of, we're for what the people want. Like Amazon gives $500,000 to like make Black Lives Matter, but it's spending like $80 million making sure that there's no union in their warehousing and all this other nonsense. So it's double talk. The money looks good when somebody reports on it in the newspaper. You go, wow, that Amazon, what a great company. Then you find out really that, it was essentially paid advertisement or unpaid advertisement, because on the other side of this thing, they're kind of undoing people with way more money and way more zeal. So, yeah.
So a question was posed to me. I'm going to pose it to you.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you give Mark Zuckerberg as the CEO and chairman of Facebook? I think he stays chairman.
He's
but how
the
long do you
shareholder? He's going no place.
But how long do you? No. He's going to stay as chair. I'm just thinking of the negativity that he says, okay, you know what? Let me get out of this CEO position, and I can make the same amount of money as a.
But at that point, it's not about money.
Chairman.
It's about power and control. It's not. I mean, it's not about money at that level.
So you don't see him moving. You don't see him relinquishing the CEO title.
He takes himself out of the game to do what? Sit on a yacht
and make money hand over fist.
But it's not always about money. It's not always about money.
Okay.
It's about power. I tell my nephew this all the fucking time. It's not about money. It's about power. Once you have fucking power, you don't care about money. You know who had money? Epstein. You know who he got? Murdered in his jail cell. You know who has power? Prince William. You know where he's going? Fucking nowhere. To banquet dinners. That's what power is. It's not about the money. It's about the power. You feel me? It's very simple.
I'm with you.
Very simple.
I still
a nickel. Look, there's a prince living in California. We went through this before.
Mm-hmm.
He's got power.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck money. You get into a fucking street fight with him, see what happens. He activates a whole country. His grandma runs Britain. Don't think it's a bar fight. He's got power. Let him get hit in the face by one of those actors who has money.
I still think
the game is different.
still think he either takes himself out because after a while he's gonna.
Shareholder, he stays. He's in the game forever. No one can take it from him, unless he does with who's the porn guy? Penthouse, right? He can take a seat back and let some Hefner. No, not Hefner. That was Playboy. Penthouse guy. Guccione.
Okay. Yeah.
No. That was the other guy. There was three of them. There was Hefner, there was Guccione, and then there was the guy who they made the movie with Woody Harrelson about. And he sued for his First Amendment right. I think he was Penthouse. One was right. Guccione was Hustler. There was Playboy, Hustler, and Penthouse. So the Penthouse guy, see what when I chase things, I begin to lose my train of thought. So I finally grabbed the bone that I wanted, and now I kind of lost my train of thought. But what were we talking about?
We were talking about Zuckerberg and
right. I'm sorry. So Hustler, Hustler. So Penthouse guy stepped back after he was shot, and he let someone else run the place for like 10 years. But then he came back because he owned the place. It was his company, and it wasn't. It wasn't on Wall Street or anything. but he was a boss. If Zuckerberg had minority shares, they would have removed him a while ago. So they can't remove him. So he may take a step down, let somebody run it, like when Bloomberg ran New York.
Right. I'm just thinking, instead of taking a pie in the face every other day.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. I know money doesn't mean anything to you. I'm just saying, it's so much easier to say, hey, it's that guy's fault right there. That's his issue. I'm just the chairman.
It's way easier to say it's my company and it's not my fault, or I don't care. And who says it's a pie in the face? Who says I'm embarrassed by it? I mean, what's 6 of these guys? The pie in the face? So what?
It's well, it can't be a good feeling. I mean, because now, believe it or not, I know money doesn't matter to you, but these ad dollars,
yeah, that's a blow to the ego. They're destroying something you built. He's still going to be sitting on $100 billion.
Right.
So if they fired him, he's going to be on a welfare line? No, he's going to be sitting in a giant house with $100 billion.
No, I don't see him getting fired. No, for me, it's kind of like when Bill Gates said, "Hey, I'm stepping down from Microsoft because I want to find the cure to AIDS."
Yeah, that's different than being forced out. I want to do something else. I've done this since I was 19. I'm 45. I'm 48. I want to do something else. That's totally different than being forced out of something you built. And the guy is young, and why would he leave? To find a woman of his dreams? He's married already with 3 kids. What else are you gonna do? Sit home and be yelled at by his woman? He'll be divorced in 7 years. He's gonna stay right where he is. Everybody talking smoke is doing exactly that, talking smoke.
I was watching CNBC this morning, which is my new thing. It was one of the co-founders of Instagram was on there. And it was just so funny because he was talking about the beating Zuckerberg has been taking.
Right.
But he was on there to talk about RT Live. RT.live. Yeah. I shared it in the group chat today. Basically, it's like kind of shows you, I don't want to say it's contact tracing, but it's a step towards contact tracing.
Yeah.
With the COVID. So he was talking about the tool today, and he was like, it's a free website, and this is some of the stuff that we're doing, and basically just showing you how the clusters are happening, what to stay away from last week versus this week. It's kind of like a forecasting tool.
Right.
So and I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool this morning. I was just like, oh, okay. And just looking at, because
do this with your phone?
Yeah.
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 We used to have privacy in this country. I'm just saying.
Well,
there's so much stuff going on here that I don't think you could actually get away with, because we all just kind of give up the fact that,
I sent out something yesterday. You've given your privacy away the minute you turn on location services, and the minute you grant all of these apps access to your personal data and where you are and who you are.
And you tag these photos.
Yes. And all the geo tags and everything else like that. So don't start with the privacy business, because you've given it the minute you turned on that iPhone.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. I don't know if you can give it away. I've been thinking about it. Yeah, everyone always signs and used to be signed. Now it's just clicked out. Yeah, I agree, kind of thing. But I don't even know if you can give it away.
What do you mean you can give it away?
You can sign away these rights with this, paper thing for this thing that you bought for $400. This technological Wasmo brick that we all carry around in our pockets. I don't think you can sign away your rights. If I had a piece of paper right here and you signed it, said, I, Ted Hicks, agree to be your slave for a year. It's not valid because you signed it. You see what I'm saying? And this is some of the stuff I'm just kind of like, I wonder why I'm signing away and how seriously it is. You couldn't sign away. I mean, this country lets you put, like, the devil is in the details, like they say. Daniel Webster all over the place. This country, like, these contracts are just really just.
I don't know if I was talking to
lawyers.
you. I don't know who I was talking to the other day. It might have been you.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, do me a favor. Look at your bill. Because I think, I know I was having a conversation and the person was talking about the amount of spam calls they were receiving.
Right.
And I said, take 5 seconds, look at your bill. And the reference was, look at my physical bill? No, go into your console, which everyone has access to, where you can go in and you can see your minutes spent, how your data is being burnt.
Right.
There's an option in there that you acknowledged the day by default when you turned that phone on.
Right.
Because you said, hey, I agree to allow XYZ provider, whether it's Verizon or T-Mobile or AT&T, that you can take my number and share it with third parties.
Yeah. But remember,
and you have to go in there.
By that,
and you have to go in there and you have to turn those features off.
Yeah, but there was so much blowback with that before that. Now that's prominent. You can cut off third parties, but it used to be buried, right? It used to be buried in there, but it was such a problem before that it's a prominent. You can turn.
It's a problem now. How many spam calls do you get a day?
Okay, yeah.
So it's a problem now,
right? That's true.
And as I said before, the minute the government locked, the minute we had the lockdown for the government, all those databases became out of sync. You remember, like FCC and FDA and everything else like that.
Why would they get out of sync if they're computers and it's a physical lockdown?
It's a physical lockdown. As you know.
What kind of lockdown are you talking about? This pandemic lockdown?
No, the government. Oh, okay. Remember, with the government. I know there's a lot of lockdowns in the past year. No, with the government. Remember, they couldn't agree, and Trump was like, "Hey, we're going to lock it down," and then you got Pelosi and Schumer and all this other stuff, and they were kind of like they had that evil grin for the both of them, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, okay. What I'm saying is, all of those are government run. How your data is secured, all the spam calling and everything else like that. What I'm saying is those databases became out of sync. They had to. Okay? And I'm just going on with saying it's never really caught up. Because at one point, everyone was talking about it. Like when your local news station channel says, hey, are you getting a lot of spam calls? Because remember, it was just through the roof.
Yeah.
But there was a time when we weren't getting that. And things were shut down. So I'm rambling, but I'm at the point.
They sent that guy to jail for those robocalls that,
Right.
He got like 25 years for sending like 2 million robocalls. And then they tamped it down for like a couple of years. And all of a sudden, he sort of came back with a vengeance.
Yeah. I'm just saying you got to do your homework. Right. And just as you give all these apps access to allow where you are, to know where you are, and you want to know, hey, why does my browser know that I was just looking at this on my phone?
Right.
Is this legal? But we just got to be smart, and we got to be smart when we see this Facebook ad buy boycott. You know why?
Why?
It's only active through July. The boycott is only active
through. So the boycott has an expiration date on it?
Yes.
Yeah, these people aren't serious. I mean, yeah, I don't know. This they don't. That doesn't seem serious to me. You boycott until you. Well, I mean, they're just gonna wait you out.
They're boycotting this month and next month.
Yeah,
if you listen to this stuff clear, because the headlines get you, hey, all these companies are boycotting. Okay,
right.
Listen, read the fine print. Yeah, they're boycotting through the month of July.
Right. Yeah. See, this is the kind of thing that makes me
because
crazy.
you know why?
Why?
That 2.5 billion user base in Facebook is just as important to them because they're selling goods to them, and
right.
So I'm just saying we just got to be mindful. We really got to be mindful because a lot of this stuff is wordplay, and it's kind of apropos because we can go into Amazon Prime Day, I think it's July 16th.
Right.
Hang on one second. Let me see
the idea that there's a holiday for this is crazy to me.
Amazon Prime Day. Let's see when it is. It is, when is 48 day. I'm looking and it just keeps saying, because I think it's more than just a day now. They've spread it across 48-hour period or something like that. Oh, wait. It now looks, well, it's saying, it now looks like Amazon Prime Day 2020 will be delayed until September due to COVID. Because it's back in 18, it was a 36-hour that happened on the 16th of July. So it goes into this topic. It's an article we're going to have on Late Night Parents, I think on July 1st. Is Amazon Prime 2-day shipping still worth it?
No.
Everyone, well, don't be so quick to.
You were asking, I'm sorry.
Everyone there's like 120 million subscribers for Amazon Prime 2-day shipping. So you got as many people that vote in a presidential election as Amazon Prime subscribers. What does that tell you?
I don't know.
What does that tell you?
I don't know. What does that tell me? You got a company base as big as the voting bloc of America. I think that's good for him, but bad for us. I mean, I don't know. What do you want me to tell you about it?
Let's see. You got what? 330 million Americans.
Right.
You got 120 million subscribers.
I'm thinking it's 370.
Okay. So you got basically roughly 1/3 of that. Because you got to think about it. About 120 million people vote. 120 to 125.
329 million.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I think it was higher than this?
I told you 330 because you don't trust me. You don't think I do my homework. But it's okay. I don't feel any way by it. It's okay. So, you got a huge base.
I'm checking my math. I said England had 60 million the last time.
Yeah, you said 60 million. I said that's a real low number. So
55.98 million people is a
close
population. What did I say? Australia was
40.
I thought okay. I thought I said 29, but all right. Let's see. We got 24.99.
Okay, maybe you said 29.
Yeah.
I don't know, but dude. So tell me this much.
I've got a have of useless trivia, and sometimes it slams in with actual knowledge. I have to make sure. I'm sorry.
Prior to COVID,
I may have to get a beverage from my throat.
I said prior to COVID, I think the Amazon 2-day shipping.
Yeah.
The greatest idea ever.
Why?
It took you out of having to go to the mall and allowed you to.
Yeah, but the mall. We used to go to the mall and look at girls when we were young men. The
Okay.
mall is a good social gathering place. Why does the mall get all this anger?
Because it's
You
a
know, when your kids
legacy.
are in the mall,
It's a
you know,
legacy. It's a legacy property. It's a legacy situation. It's something
I don't know
that
what that
is
means. It's a
not.
legacy situation.
Well, it's something that's dying.
Right, but I'm saying it shouldn't be like the post office. Some
Right. It's dying. It's to a
things are
point
worth having around.
where it costs more to operate than the actual revenue that you actually have coming in. So
Yeah, because
it,
yeah,
with this, I think I mean, the big thing with Amazon Prime, the I guess the fly in the ointment is you can't get anything in 2 days anymore. Period. I don't care what it is. COVID has
right.
just
But that's not because of technology, right? That's because of
no.
COVID and ailment.
Right.
But once COVID is gone, you can get stuff in 2 days again,
Yeah, you can
right? So
get
it's
stuff
not
in two
like
days.
we've lost the technology. I mean, it's not. It's just
So
commerce. It's not that bad.
no,
You don't need that,
but
cheese hat from Wisconsin overnight in 2 days.
but here's the problem. You look at any car insurance, you look at any insurance company, they're giving you money
Right,
back. Why? Because you're not doing as much driving. Because you're not doing this. Because
right,
I know from my insurance company alone, I've received roughly $180 back in the last two
right.
months. I'm just
Pretty
saying,
nice.
Amazon is not offering any money back. They're not saying, hey,
Right,
you paid us 120, we're going to give you $30 back. They're not saying that.
right, right. And they will once enough people start leaving, and then they go, "Oh, we got a retention problem. Hey, we're going to cut your so and so. You don't have to worry about X, Y, and Z for the next year until COVID happens because they want to keep you on the dockets."
I think they're so
But
big
yeah,
it
like I
doesn't matter
joined.
to them. I think they're so big it doesn't
That's
matter
not
to them.
true. We just had this conversation about Facebook. That's not true. Facebook is bleeding money. They care because they're trying to stay in business, and you
Facebook
can
is
only stay in
free.
business by generating income. I
Facebook
know,
is
but they still
free
generate income. I know, but they
for
still generate
us.
income.
For us, Facebook is free. For Amazon, you have to pay.
You said that 3 times, and I said I know that, and then I said opposing. Look, listen. Yes, Facebook is free, but Facebook
Okay.
still is trying to make money. Amazon, though not free, is also in the business of making money. So
Right.
once people start going, God damn it, I'm not getting 2 day delivery, and I'm paying for this crap, and it's been half a year, I'm out. Once enough people begin to do that, then the people who were the chief executive vice president of the retention unit at Amazon of this window of the business. Well, hey, who's head of the Amazon Prime thing? Why is our numbers dropping up, Bob? Oh, well, we haven't been delivering, and we've got warehouse issues, and people are trying to union. We don't care about your excuses, Bob. Why are they leaving? You better fucking deal with it, Bob. And then Bob would be like, hey, whoa, nobody needs to cancel their Prime membership. We're gonna suspend your monthly thing until this whole thing blows over. That, like I said, they keep you on the books, and then once the whole thing blows, they just automatically start recharging you again because you allowed it. But as long as no one's complaining, why give you your money back? I can sit over here with myself and go, well, Miss Helen, Amazon operator of 40,706. I don't like the way you treat me. I'm taking my business elsewhere. She'll be like, so what? Buy with Amazon, right? But once you get a couple of, and they catch this fire, like this police protest, like the Facebook protest, then all of a sudden they have to go, wait, whoa, this is, while not a threat to our business, we don't like what this looks like. This is bad press and bad mojo. We need to fix this to keep this part of the business that we like and the bad press away. And I think that's what's going to happen. But until someone goes,
hey, you guys suck over there for, charging me 2-day delivery and taking it, 3 weeks to get here.
I was waiting for that fire.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
I knew if I could.
I'm out of thinking juice.
I was waiting for it.
Oh, we used to call it the brain lubricant.
All of a sudden, you caught fire, and I could see the fury and the rage, and it was great.
The fury and the rage.
Macy's fireworks show. When and where? I think the Macy's fireworks show, which is going to happen this weekend, has been happening since Memorial Day?
Yeah.
With the constant fireworks every night. I know in New York, for me, I've been hearing it every night since Memorial Day. And I'm not in the 5 boroughs. I'm not Long Island. And I'm like, geez. I said, this again?
Well, first, let me just say that this should be happening all over the country. It's Independence Day, and everybody who's crying about it, shame on them. What am I looking for over here?
I don't
know. Because, every, I was telling you, every year about this time, fireworks begin to go off. It sort of leads up to 4th of July. And
for a month?
It essentially...
For a month?
No, usually not a month. But there's a lot of people out of work and at home. That's why it's maybe a little more robust than you're used to hearing. But even then, it's kind of what we as Americans do. So kind of
there's more people at home right now, so they're spending money on
fireworks. So you got your kids out. Yeah, why not? Fireworks are friggin' dirt cheap. So you sit outside, and mind you, everybody's not getting giant, bottle rockets. Most people get firecrackers and skyrockets. So you light them off for your 3-year-old, and people go ha 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 ha, and that's it. But every now and then you get the teenager to want a bigger and more exuberant happening. Mm. Yeah, so you get that, and that's part of their right to be rebellious American teenagers, right? So yeah, like I said, I had a daughter for 16 years, and every year the fireworks would go off. When we lived in Brooklyn, she would not dig it, so I would sort of comfort her and close the windows and but it's what we do. We're Americans. It's what we do, and it'll go away. I saw de Blasio talking about putting cops on a fireworks detail, and I was like, really, man? More cops in this environment going to get into shit over fireworks? Really? Is this wise? It just doesn't make any sense. It seems like a really good way to add some more problems. So, yeah.
So you're okay. Had the fireworks kept you up at all?
No, not really. But I'm not a 75-year-old guy screaming at people to get off my lawn either. I get that it's July 4th coming up.
And
so I expect. Look, when I did this work, we would drive around, 4th of July, or thereabouts, and we hit a corner, and everybody would be in the street letting off fireworks. But as long as no one blew their fingers off, we'd let it go, because once you got out of the car, it was just gonna be a neighborhood incident. Well, can we have fireworks, yo? Blah 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 blah. Right? And you go, all right, fine, and then you'd come back when someone blew a finger off or did something serious like that. But as for looking for trouble, this is one of this. It's like giving people drinking summonses on December 31st. You expect people to drink. Why cause drama for yourself? With this all of a sudden zealot freaking what are those people who the moral police that they have in Iraq will walk up to people, women, and go, that skirt's too short. It's and whip them with a crop because they have religious authority. This kind of nonsense. So man, it's July 4th. Expect it to be loud and cranky and put you off for a little bit. And yeah, hate it, but at the end of the day, remember, you grew up here and you did the same thing. And I can prove it because I was with you.
I just got something across my stream. I said it also Cirque du Soleil files for bankruptcy protection. It also laid off roughly 3,500 employees. Nothing is safe. You heard about that?
It's gonna be hard to get a job doing backflips. No, but it makes sense. Nobody's going to keep them open, right? I mean, they were probably like, "Oh, we've got enough money for 2 months to be solvent." They're far past that. Now they have to deal with creditors and rent and landlords and all the other stuff. Not ticket holders. What is the guy who owns shares in your company? Stockholders and all this other stuff. So yeah, Burger King and McDonald's will be doing the same thing if people stop going to those restaurants. But luckily, most people don't know how to cook. So they're going to be the last people to go.
Thinly veiled shot at every man, woman, and child out there. That's terrible.
Who can't cook? Yeah, I absolutely. Look, if you like to eat, then you should know how to cook. If you like to put food in your face and you know how to, you should know how to cook. I've met people who didn't know how to wash a dish, and I was like, "This is outrageous. You're a grown person, and you don't know how to wash dishes. You don't know how to do laundry. It's outrageous." But these are the people who demand that you be X, Y, or Z. These are those the shakiest of people who can't do the basics. And don't get me wrong, I'm not Martha Stewart out here. I struggle like everybody else, but I don't know, man.
God. Oh my goodness, dude! I had a blast. We went through a ton of topics. I know I had some tech issues in the beginning. Thank you for walking me through those issues. I think we'll do this weekly. I think we'll because you know what's helpful. We talk politics, but we talk other stuff. And for the most part, you did your best job staying away from our 46th president of the United States. He's going to be sworn in. I think it's January 21st.
Yeah, January 20th.
January 20th. Joseph R. Biden Jr.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! All right, this is Ted Hicks from Late Night Parents. I want to thank Shawn Armor for coming through. You can follow him on Twitter at TRU_ARMOR. You can find these shows on the website, latenightparents.com, or just go to the website and you'll find various feeds and everything else like that. And you'll find. Give us your YouTube page one more time.
It's Shawn Armor YouTube.
All right. And we'll
like and subscribe and come on through. I'm trying to build an interesting experience.
So before I click in broadcast, tell us about the interesting experience. What will we find there? What will we find on your YouTube page?
I'm trying to do some politics, some cooking, some gaming, but I'm just getting it up and getting started and sort of organizing it. But up until then, I've been speaking and doing podcasts for a lot of other people.
Short form?
And I'm trying to do my own.
Short form pods? Short form?
I like to do long form cooking. I like to start from the beginning of the thing, to do the whole thing, and then it takes about an hour to cook a meal, 40 minutes to an hour to cook a meal. So I don't do 5-minute cooking segments just yet. I actually just have one up, so I was supposed to do the other one yesterday, but
I saw it was like about an hour 7 minutes, right?
Yeah, cook it from stem to stern, and it's the way cooking should be done, right? But yeah, like I said, I'm in the early throes of it. Hopefully, I'll be good at it. Please stop by and tell me if I suck or not. Actually, don't do that. Don't stop by and tell me if I suck. Just stop by.
But they can tell you. They can tell you if you suck or not, as long as they click the share and they click follow, right?
Exactly.
All right.